What's up, guys? Welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And in this video, we're going to be going through the Reminiscence Conflict EX, which is the third Reminiscence event for the first year anniversary of the global launch of Opera Omnia. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is basically because I actually found this fight quite challenging than the first two, and that was the reason why I didn't make any videos of the first two, because I felt like they weren't that challenging, and I would have hoped a lot of you guys would have cleared those fights without any problems. Now, I just want to give a little bit background that I decided to make this video because it is challenging, but I also had a thought that maybe in the future for events, I would use this format instead of my normal format where I go through the abilities, the weaknesses, and then we go through the tips, and we go through the guide, and then we go through party compositions. I just feel like those can last longer in YouTube. Like, for example, like the lost chapters, like people can just go through it and actually, okay, this is how the fight will go, and blah blah blah. And this is my guide for you guys. But when it comes to events, they don't last very long. So even though if I make a guide like that, I suppose after the events are finished, no one will actually watch them. So I just want to go through with you guys my mindset, I suppose. So for the events, in these kinds of events, but character events, I'll still do my normal style of video. But these kinds of events, like holiday events, maybe I will go with this style. Now, leave down in the comments below if you like this style for those events, or maybe if you actually just want me to go through with you the videos for all my guides, then leave it down in the comments below if you feel that way. But in any case, let's go through this Reminiscence Conflict EX fight. Now, I have tried quite a lot of different characters for this particular fight, and this is the most success that I had. I was really falling short for like 900 points to get that 165,000 points with this particular setup. Now, I have tried a lot of other characters like Squall. I actually tried Noctis as well. At one point, I was going to try Vaughn, but I felt like he was gonna fall short on the abilities. But I did try him in the end and found like mediocre success. But you can have a different success with Vaughn as well in this fight. Maybe I just I only tried him once, so I don't know if I actually use him to his highest potential for this fight, and I'll tell you the reason why you can use him as well later on in this video. But in this case, I got Beatrix, obviously, and Kate Sith, two of the most OP characters that we can have at the moment in global. Obviously, if you have someone stronger, you can replace them, but again, this is just my point of view, and I tried various characters as well. And I've got Terra here, one of the OP characters as well. And for my support, I got Squall. Now, I could have used my own Squall, but I felt like the setup was a lot better. And thank you, shout out to Fyra for lending me his Squall with Brother's Gift, I might add. I actually wanted that weapon and just couldn't get it. But in any case, we'll go through the fight. I actually put this on mute, and the reason why is because I was outside and there was a lot of noise, so I don't really want to go through with you guys with all that noise. So in any case, the first wave basically is going to be a Marlboro and a Blue Dragon. Now, the first wave isn't actually that hard. The strategy I used here is basically just to get rid of the Marlboros straight away. you do not want the Marlboro to have a turn. That's basically just in this first wave, just kill the Marlboro and then you can kill the blue dragon later. So in this case, I did use my support straight away. I had Squall come in after my Kate Sith has buffed everyone else. The reason for this is basically I felt like I wouldn't have been able to kill that Marlboro with a Kate Sith. I might have, but I would just wanted to be safe, and I wanted to get Squall out as soon as I can. And honestly, in the previous fights, I actually did Renzokuken here over there, so I can have double damage, you know, the splash damage. But it didn't end up killing the Marlboro, so you guys might have a different success with that. But again, kill the Marlboro. That's basically it, and then you just kill the blue dragon. Now, the second one is Garland. I think that's Garland. Yes, Garland. So Garland here is actually pretty easy. You wouldn't have any problem with this. Even though you get broken, if you guys have a high DPS character, there shouldn't be any issues of taking him down. Now the problem with Garland is probably he has a lot of HP, and you're going to be using quite a lot of your abilities to bring him down. So that's my only concern with this one. And again, I use Assault Trigger instead of the Renzokuken, so I can actually use, one of the reasons is to actually use it a second time. So I would actually skip through this because Garland's just like a HP sponge, like taking all that damage, but no, not a real concern. If you have someone that can do chase sequence, like Dark Knight Cecil, then you probably won't have that much problem with getting a higher score. But obviously you have to understand that I do believe there is, I can't remember on top of my head, but I will actually go check up on this now. I believe there is an HP requirement, so I'm just gonna go have a quick look at that. Sorry guys, I should have been much more ready with this, but I do have my phone in front of me. I believe it was 5,000. Yeah, 5,000 HP requirement for this EX fight. So if you are planning to bring a Dark Knight Cecil or a Dark Knight Cecil support, then I just have to warn you that even though it's a support, the HP damage, I do believe that they do count. So I don't know if the abilities that the Dark Knight Cecil takes away from his HP is considered HP damage. Actually, I would like to ask you guys that if the HP damage that the Dark Knight Cecil does to himself is counted as an HP damage, because you know it's a technicality thing, isn't it? It's like, okay, I'm gonna use my abilities, but I'm gonna hurt myself, but it's not actually coming from the boss or any other monsters. You know, if Dark Knight Cecil actually doesn't do that, then you probably can bring a Dark Knight Cecil. Will probably make these a lot easier. So I want to post that question for you guys. So in any case, the third one is the Ultima EX boss. I believe that is his name. I'll just go through it and just make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, Ultima Weapon. So it's not Ultima EX. So Ultima Weapon is probably the most annoying one you'll ever fight in this particular fight. And the reason for that is once he gets his Brave back and it falls in line when it's his turn, it's basically a HP attack. So the other thing is it will always buff itself first, and when he does buff himself, he will be able to have a higher defense, so your damage, your brave damage or brave shaving is actually going to be a lot lower. The other strategies, excuse me, that I actually did here was I actually built up my Ifrit or my summon first before I got to this stage, and when I summoned and killed him as fast as I can, and that worked out okay. However, I did use quite a lot of turns. But again, if you are launching, you will have a faster summon. So use it at your own, I suppose, on your own decision, whichever. But if you don't like dealing with the high defense of the ultimate weapon, that is one way for you to deal with that. And the other option is obviously to have a good brave battery and just use HP attacks. But obviously you will have to break it. You don't really want it to get the brave by the time it uses its turn. So one way I do it is, let's just go back a few. So that's right. But if you can see like a blur of, I'll just pause. See if I can get it. So there is a blur of their brave. If you guys can see my mouse there, and I do believe when it's hits the 1,800 something and it's gonna be his turn next, that's pretty much going to be an HP attack. So it didn't happen here, but I don't know if it actually gets to that point. So we'll just go. So that's still 160. That's 900, and he breaks me. So it didn't happen in this particular fight. But that is one way for you to know that, oh, he's going to get his full, his regular brave back. And if it's his turn, then, well, goodbye to one of your characters. So there you go. And the last fight is the Atlas, which is level 90. Actually, guys, if you have Ifrit here, this shouldn't be an issue at all. The main problem you'll probably have at this point is you're running out of abilities. And boy, you're in trouble if you have run out of abilities. So I quickly just use Ifrit straight away. I could have used it a little bit later, after a Mog Dance maybe or something like that, but I just decided just to go to hell with it. I'm gonna go full on offensive and just go all out. Now the Atlas does get rid of your buffs, the non-framed ones, I believe, and it's one of the annoying things, and especially if you have like someone like Kate Sith and what do you call this, Beatrix, who rely on having buffs in order for them to have a plus for their abilities, or a better version for their abilities, then it is quite annoying. So I don't know if he ends up doing squish here. I actually just kept breaking him on and on. Oh, yep, here we go. So squish will get rid of your buffs. So the ones with the frames do survive, so don't worry about those, but the rest just gets obliterated. You also want to make sure that it is kept broken at all times, for the reason that he can use an HP attack for the entire party, and you wouldn't get the the 5,000 or less damage. So I think I will end the video right there. I feel like the third wave is probably where you'll have a little bit more struggle, because one, if you decide to make it, to let it buff itself, you will have a lower damage because of its higher defense, but at the same time, you will still encounter the HP attack problem. Second way to deal with it, again, is to summon. If you have if you can quickly build up your summon as fast as you can, then that's great. You can summon around that time and just kill him. Actually, the Atlas, you can actually kill the Atlas even without a summon. Even though it can be annoying, it's less annoying than the freaking Ultima weapon. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, I like to hear from you guys what you think of this particular fight, and if you like this sort of setup when it comes to event quests or events, whatever you want to call them, really. Just the events, I suppose, like the holiday events. There you go, holiday events sounds nice. And special events as well, like the 1st year anniversary. If you guys really like it, I will do the 4th Reminiscence EX if there is a lot more interest in this kind of videos. And yeah, the biggest question is, if you get to this end of this video, is basically, does the Dark Knight Cecil's ability count to HP loss? I'm not sure. I really want to know. But yeah, anyway, guys, I suppose if you have a healer, you can just heal back. But that is a healer, and like the bulk healers that we have, from top of my head, are just Earth. And everyone else is just sort of regen, isn't it? Yuna can do a bit of healing, so I'm not exactly sure. So I want to hear from you guys if you know that. And remember to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.